Top 10 lists are overrated because, these YouTube videos can't get too long. Let's do the top 5 prospects for the Detroit Red Wings, courtesy of Nicholas J. Kotsonika on NHL.com. Now, I'm going to leave a link in the description to this awesome article, which features 5 names on the list. 5 names, we've got about 10 minutes. This gives us about 2 minutes per guy. Let's talk about whom it is the Red Wings have developed and who could potentially be the future of this organization. Here are your top 5 Red Wings prospects. Starting out with number 5, it is Nate Danielson. He was acquired with the 9th overall draft pick in the 2023 NHL Draft. In the 25-26 season, Danielson scored 7 points in 28 Red Wings games and 15 points in 18 Grand Rapids Griffins games. The 21-year-old just got his first taste of the NHL last season, playing for the Red Wings from November 9th to January 3rd. After returning to Grand Rapids, he had sustained a lower body injury February 18th and missed the rest of the year. He is expected to be ready for training camp, and there might be opportunity at center in Detroit. Dylan Larkin, the Red Wings captain and number 1 center, has requested a trade. Danielson's projected NHL arrival is this season, and you know what? I find it kind of interesting how they put Danielson on the list in the first place. Is he eligible for the Calder? No, I don't think so. He had 28 games played this most recent campaign. Isn't the limit 25? Anyways, Calder eligibility aside, I don't think you could fully say that Danielson's season that was an actual season. But heading into this upcoming year, he obviously is poised to break out, and if there's anybody that has a chance to take advantage of the situation in Detroit right now, it is none other than Nate Danielson. This is a guy that, if he pans out to the best of his ability, maybe the Red Wings don't really need to look too far to find a center replacement for Dylan Larkin. Danielson was taken 9th overall in 2023, so he was a top 10 talent, and he's a guy that was way over a point per game in his draft-eligible campaign. He was also absolutely dynamite for the Portland Winterhawks upon being traded over there. So we do know, point production, it does exist with Danielson. He does have a chance to do more, so we'll see whether or not he's able to take that up to the next level, potentially as quickly as this season. Let's move to the 4th best prospect in the Red Wings system. It is Michael Brandsegg-Nygard, 15th overall draft pick in the 2024 NHL Entry Draft, a guy who had 1 point in the 14 games he had with Detroit this season, but 44 points in 60 Grand Rapids games. The 20-year-old made the Red Wings roster at a training camp last season. After he had 1 assist in 9 games, he was sent down to the AHL. He had no points in 5 games and 2 NHL stints late in the year. But he produced for Grand Rapids in the regular season and felt that he had made progress. I'm getting more and more comfortable with the puck and keeping a guy on you while you have the puck, he said late in the regular season. Also, just getting used to the tempo in the NHL too. Everything goes so much faster than I'm used to. MBN had 8 points in 8 Calder Cup playoff games and 6 points in 5 games for Norway at the World Championships, including an assist in a 3-2 overtime win against Canada in the bronze medal game, helping his country win at medal at Worlds for the first time. His projected NHL arrival is this season as well. Now, Michael Brandsegg-Nygard isn't really a guy that I think fans would say has the highest ceiling available, but he certainly is a name to watch out for heading into the next few years. He is only 20 after all, and if the Red Wings are going to be forced to go down some sort of a rebuild/retool path, getting a guy who was over a point per game at the World Championships ain't a bad thing. In fact, was he just straight up cut from the Olympic team? I guess he was, eh? Or did Norway even participate in the Olympic Games at the top tier of men's ice hockey? I'm not too sure about that either, honestly. Let's see. No, it does not look like it. Man, that tournament was just a few months ago. How do I not remember what went down, eh? Either way, you can let me know your thoughts, whether or not you feel like Michael Brandsegg-Nygard can be that guy for Detroit. Let's move on to the 3rd best prospect in the system. It is the newly acquired J.P. Hurlbert, selected with the 23rd overall pick in this most recent NHL draft, a guy that was essentially gifted to Detroit after they sent away Sebastian Cossa. This 25-26 campaign, Hurlbert had 97 points in 68 Kamloops Blazers games. The 18-year-old will play at the University of Michigan after leading WHL rookies in goals and points last season. Not only is Ann Arbor near Detroit, but Michigan's coach is Brandon Naurato, who had spent 2018 to 2021 as Red Wings to player development consultant before joining the coaching staff of his alma mater. I have high standards for myself, Hurlbert said. I know what I'm capable of, and I need to keep improving all aspects of my game to make it to the NHL. I think the way Naurato thinks offense and can help develop talent is world class, and I am just super excited to go there and learn from him. Hurlbert's projected NHL arrival is 2029-2030, and this is actually pretty cool as well. WHL rookies, no big deal. He had 97 points in 68 games. I mean, JP Hurlbert was such a beast in this most recently completed WHL campaign. And now, as a Wolverine, he'll be able to show off more of that skill and hopefully develop into a very positive piece for the Red Wings' long-term future. If he ends up becoming a middle to top 6 caliber scorer who can get 20 to 30 goals a year, I'd say that's a pretty fair return for Sebastian Cossa, considering the disappointment that Red Wings fans felt with him. Either way, JP Hurlbert is a guy that we do know the other teams in the NHL draft also coveted. Immediately after Hurlbert was drafted, you had the Vancouver Canucks, who selected Adam Novotny, and in the Canucks draft video, you could say that they were really actually high on Hurlbert too. They were deciding between the two, up until Detroit just took Hurlbert, and the Canucks are like, okay, well, I guess we got Novotny now. Let's go over to the second overall prospect in the Red Wings organization. It is Carter Bear, 13th overall pick in 2025, a guy who had fewer points than Hurlbert in the same WHL league, and a guy who is expected to play in Grand Rapids after helping Everett win the Western Hockey League last season. Obviously, it's pro now, the 19-year-old Bear said. That's a whole new level of hockey, way different than junior. It's faster. You've got to be smarter and stronger. At development camp last month, Red Wings Assistant Director of Player Development Dan Cleary said it would be important for Bear to have a good summer in the gym. Projected NHL arrival 2028-2029, so this doesn't actually say what makes Bear such a good player, but if you like Brandon Hagel type guys, Carter Bear is essentially your new favorite prospect. The guy had some injury issues which held him off the score sheet for a while, which is why he only had 77 points compared to JP Hurlbert who had 97. But Carter Bear plays a really mature, solid, buzzsaw-like game, and if he can take that over to the next step, sure, you might be looking at guys who play similarly between Brandsegg-Nygard and Danielson and Bear, but if a team is able to holistically grind down their opponents collectively, that in itself is a pretty interesting strategy that has its benefits, doesn't it? And with that in mind, let's go over to the top prospect in the Red Wings organization. It is goaltender Trey Augustine, 41st overall pick in 2023, a guy who had a really solid season with Michigan State in the NCAA, a .929 save percentage and a .211 goals against in 34 games. Augustine is the reason the Wings traded Cossa over to the Mammoth. We wouldn't have traded Sebastian had we not been comfortable with the depth we have in goal, said Yzerman, who was named GM at the time and will become senior advisor to owner Chris Ilitch after a successor is named. Augustine helped the U.S. win gold at the World Juniors in 24 and in 25, each of the past 2 seasons at Michigan State. He was named the Big Ten's best goalie, and last season, he was, okay, thanks Adblock for completely popping in there and destroying the flow of our video. Last season, he was one of the 10 candidates for the Hobey Baker Award, which goes to the top men's player in the NCAA. The 21-year-old is expected to compete with goalie prospect Michael Postava with Grand Rapids of the AHL. Augustine's projected NHL arrival is 2028-2029, and I would say that's a pretty fair mark for a guy who is taking his time to develop, who certainly hasn't been rushed into anything so far. Augustine is 21 years old, and if he's able to break out into the National Hockey League 2 years from now at 23, after 2 strong seasons in Grand Rapids, then obviously that's the ideal pathway. It's what Sebastian Cossa was never actually able to fulfill. So with all that said, you can let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about these top Detroit Red Wings prospects? You've got Nate Danielson, you've got Michael Brandsegg-Nygard, you've got JP Hurlbert, Carter Bayer, Trey Augustine. I hope you enjoyed this Recherche Roll 9 article is going to be linked down in the description below. Thank you so much to Nicholas J. Kotsonica who puts this out there, and bye.